All right, guys. So today we're gonna hop into a video. We're gonna show you how to properly trade Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, altcoins, whatever you want. This video primarily focuses on the bigger coins because they have, the most volume, most liquidity. So you can use it on pretty much any like the top 100, but I wouldn't recommend using it on like a low volume or, low data meme coin or something. There's just not enough data that comes in with those. But for things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Sui, Hype, whatever, larger asset as this works on. And it works with the big indexes as well. But we're going to focus on cryptocurrency right now because, I don't know, I get a lot of questions on Twitter on how to trade this and why I'm good at it. So, we're going to start off with settings. So first off, in TradingView, make sure you have TPO enabled. If you don't know how to do that, you go here, instead of having candles, whatever, you put on time price opportunity. You might need to have TradingView Premium. I'm not actually sure. I have the lifetime subscription. It doesn't really affect me. But anyways, so we'd look for something like this, right? So if we go into our settings here. So for daily, we're always going to do period 1 day on daily. Session all. Block size 30 minutes. So with the block size here, you always match this to the time frame you're looking at. So this is a daily profile, but we always use 30 minutes. It's got the most order blocks here that are basically the most consistent, the most information. It's just the best to use. It's just what you use. We'll get into changing this on the weekly. For a weekly, for example, you'd use like a 1 week, kind of 1 hour or 4 hour. I like 4 hour just because it's a lot bigger time frame, although 1 hour will give you a bit more data. It depends what you like. I personally prefer using the 4 hour. I just think it's better and there's just less confusion. Plus, I like to trade on a higher time frame anyways. But for example, for this, you'd go 4 hour and then 4 hour time frame, right? Does that make sense? But regardless, we're going to just stick with the daily. So we're just going to do daily 30 minutes. Row size auto. You can use manual. Just be aware that in TradingView, when you use manual, a lot of times it doesn't work properly. I would argue 90% of the time you should use manual, but it just doesn't. I don't know, TradingView is weird. But regardless, most of you guys probably won't need anything more than auto anyways. You'll probably be fine, so don't think it's the end of the world. It's just you get a little bit more accurate data if you're on manual. For manual, I'd probably use like a tick size of like 1,000 or 500 if possible. But again, you'd have to adapt all your settings and get it working. It's not something I'm going to cover today. It's not really in my scope of things anyways. I'm more passive. I will wait weeks and days, months to enter a trade if I'm not comfortable. So whatever. But for those of you guys who really, really want to get into niche things, learn about how tick size works and get it working, go for it. So these are kind of just my settings if you guys want to pause the video and copy it. I like to extend point of controls and single prints. For this video, I will be extending value area high, value area lows. I usually leave it on anyways, but if you want a more cleaner setup, you can turn these on, and then you have less stuff coming across your screen. Right? Looks a little bit more cleaner, but when you build out big composites, it's nice to have those on extended so you kind of see your ranges. And always turn the volume profile off. Volume profile is useless. Volume means nothing. It never does. It's a very big misconception in trading. If you were to use something volume-based, you'd want to be looking at internal market data, not just kind of what's going on. Otherwise, it's just noise. Right? Okay, so I'll let you guys just pause the video and go through it. Yeah, so we're gonna start off with daily because why not? I like to use view apps with trading. View apps, they're just more faster, adaptive, and dynamic. If you guys want view apps, just use the rolling view app from TradingView. These are my settings for it. So I have multiple of them open. I got 7-day, 30-day, 90-day, 200-day, 365-day. You guys can open as much as you want. Yeah, mind you, these are all anchored to dailies, right? So fixed time periods, it's going to be on days. So if you're converting something to weeks, like a 200-week moving average, just go on Google and type 200 weeks days. Yeah, so it's very similar to SMAs and EMAs, but these just dynamically adapt faster. They're better. You get a bit more look ahead. It's just what you should be using. It's the best stuff out there. As for anchored view apps, you would use these more or less on bar counts, not necessarily in TPO. You can, but just be aware that if you mess up the lining up, it's just annoying. Yeah, so anyways, we're going to teach you about TPO. So what do we see here? There's a lot of stuff kind of just going on that's probably not making sense to most people. But we go in here, we can actually see kind of these order blocks and what's going on, right? So the red's showing our point of control, orange is showing our value area high, orange is showing our value area low, purple line here is single print. So single print is basically imbalance, and you can see how the order blocks get weaker here. It's kind of where a lot of weak trading went on, and it leaves a little bit of an imbalance in the, I guess, footprint, right? Is that what we're going to call it? We're going to call it the footprint. So D's here, that's weak. A's here, that's weak. You can see the weakest point of the trading when you get little blocks like this and not clusters. Obviously, the point of control here is the most built out because the most trading took place in this zone. And our price line shows that. So the price line, don't worry about what that does. It's kind of just a reference. Sometimes I turn it right off. I've seen other people not even use it. What you want to look for is the order blocks, right? What we are looking for is days where we have multiple point of controls overlapping. And by that I mean point of controls that are within the previous range's value area low and value area high. So this, as we can see, if we scroll in a bit more, clearly this red line is still under or at least at the value area high, right? I say when the point of controls are equal to the value area high, where it's one block above, one block below, or right at, you can combine those. I think that's fine, but this is perfect because it's still in range, right? What we can do is right click it and merge with profile. So now we have a 2-day composite, right? And where are we still? We're still below the value area low on the next profile behind it and above the value area high here. By the way, always use the Binance chart as the most liquidity, most data, fastest updating, most accurate price, as well if you're trading on a platform like Hyperliquid. Use code BigTrout300, I think it is. It's in the description if you guys want to go on there and trade. Great platform, decentralized, a lot of liquidity. It's where all the big boys play at now, besides being on the big sexes. It is the most trusted, best platform you can use. But yeah, be sure you're using the Binance chart. It's just going to be what the most accurate thing is and what you're trading in terms of levels. So now that we're in this composite again here, we can see we have our 2-day composite. We have another single day here. Obviously, we're still between the value area low and the value area high. Point of controls are overlapping. This is beautiful value. Merge it again. There we go. So now we have a 3-day composite going from the 9th to the 11th, right? So there we go. We're starting to build out a big composite here. If you guys are ever curious too about what's going on in this day, you can actually split the ladder. And now you actually get a little bit more info of what is kind of going on as well. Like if you're ever curious about where a potential hidden imbalance is or why orders are clustering in this area or where the weakest point of the composite is, you can just split the ladder and go look into it closely. But the whole point of what we are trying to do is make a good D-shaped profile. Something like this, where you get like a nice D shape or a nice triangle shape or a nice P shape, something like that. So you can go, sometimes you'll get double B's, sometimes you'll get P's, sometimes you'll get B's, sometimes you'll get D's, right? Okay, so we kind of understand what we are looking for in terms of profile structure. Here we go. We got more composites here. So this is interesting here because the point of control is right at it. This is enough value to where it's all overlapping to where I'm fine to combine this because the point of control is basically right at the value area high. And honestly, to be quite frank, it is all overlapping. If we wanted to back up here, for example, like I'm showing you how to combine this. If we were to go back in time, this profile wouldn't be made yet, but these are the previous profiles that are still overlapping. So we'd combine this first, and then combine this one because it's still overlapping, right? So now we have January 8th through the 11th. So there you go. That's a pretty good large composite. So remember when we rejected hard at 126K, right? What happened here? So let's look at this on the big weekly composite, right? Got a value here, value here, value here, value here. What is that? That's like a 5-week composite, I think. Right? It's definitely large, that's for sure. Right? So what do you guys see here? So failure to auction higher, failure to auction higher, failed to break below, failed break below and reclaim, bounce off the value area low, hold, retest our point of control, fail break above again before rejecting under the point of control and getting that break lower, right? Does that make sense? So you can see how these ranges really make it easier to trade. What you need to look for from bullish acceptance would be a move higher, not a move back into the value, right? Let's go same thing here where it did a double top retest, right? Merge these, merge these. So same thing kind of happened here where, I mean, we had this 2-week value here, I guess, right? We have 3 weeks here as well we can use. What happened, you know? Essentially, like, the failed auction lower here, right? It kind of did a sweep of these lows, built out a multi-week composite up here, didn't break above the value area high in that 2-week composite, ultimately rejecting here off the point of control and moving lower into a new range, building out a 3-week composite here, rejecting at the, actually, can I use arrow here? What happened here, right? Rejecting basically at that previous composite's value area low, creating an auction back down to the value area low, failing to reclaim the point of control before auctioning lower again. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. That should make a lot more sense for you guys. Right? So we have our failed hold above, our break to a new composite value, our failed reclaim of the previous composite, our failed hold of the current composite's point of control before a break lower. Right? Then yeah, you get more value here that you can build out. There's this huge range here that we were talking about before. Again, sorry, I don't know why these aren't saving. But yeah. So that's pretty much it. And you can do this on all the assets. Just if you go into spaces where the data isn't loading, for example, maybe if you're on a kind of newer asset with less data, just move down to like a 1 hour, 1 week and switch to the 1 hour. Or on the daily as well, you know, if you wanted to move down to like a daily 15-minute, if you had to on a more fresh asset, by all means do it. It's not like it's going to be that much different. It's still going to give you nice ranges and whatnot. Anyways, the VWAPs are nice because when you build out composites and you show acceptance above, it shows that you're accepting above that moving average. That's good, right? And you can use multiple different ones. For example, like on Coinbase or on Binance here for Bitcoin, like flipping the 90-day while still holding under, flipping the 30-day while still holding under the 90-day. So you can see you get bullish acceptance above the 30-day, which is a shorter term trend flip on a monthly time frame, because obviously 30-day VWAP is 30 days in a month. 90-day would be a 3-month look ahead. And you can see kind of where we're holding above, but failing to get acceptance into the next range, right? Yeah, that's really it. Like, I think that covers pretty much everything. I don't really see what more I have to say. Yeah, I would just watch a lot of times single prints get filled, but more or less watch for range rejections and stuff. Anyways, guys, I gotta run. Hope this helps a lot. Yeah, take care.